All right, we've got a new Lumix 100mm macro lens, and it is tiny. It weighs 298 grams, making it the smallest and lightest medium telephoto macro lens on the market. They've developed a new autofocus motor, which is quick, dead silent, and uses a double focus system for precise focus. The lens also includes focus breathing suppression, so you don't get that weird wobble when changing focus if you're shooting video like me. But at the end of the day, it's a lens, so the specs are way less important than the image it produces, and I don't know what any of that stuff means anyway, so let's go shoot with it. My name's Aidin Robbins, I'm a filmmaker, I do videos here on Adorama TV, and today I'm going to take this lens for a spin and see how it fits into my current workflow, and if it can reserve a spot in my camera bag going forward. I've set myself a bit of a creative challenge for using this lens. It's currently the dead of winter, a time that I'm not particularly inspired to go out and shoot here in North Carolina. Most of the greenery is dead and the weather is usually pretty flat this time of the year, so most of the landscape looks very dead and brown, and I have a much harder time getting images that I'm happy with. The technique I usually use this time of the year is to narrow down, picking out small sections of the scene rather than shooting wide vistas. Today, I'll be doing that on foot by seeking out pockets of lush greenery in the otherwise very dead brown landscape, and with my camera by zooming in on faraway sections of the scene or picking out small details up close. And this lens, being a telephoto macro lens, is perfect for both of those.
It's funny, I came out here to complain, but I've actually been met with a very lovely winter scene. So I'm feeling a little silly. One thing I find myself doing a lot in the winter is going out looking for pockets of fog and nice pointy evergreen trees. Then you just get a nice long lens and pick out a little section of those trees, get the layers and the mist, and you can get a really nice shot. Pretend I'm in the Pacific Northwest or something. I've been taking pictures of trees for 2 hours now, so I think it's a reasonable time to slow down, get to some actual hiking, and try and get up higher, maybe see some more snow, or at the very least see a more alpine forest environment, something with more moss and ferns. Here's our destination, about 1,000 feet higher, so hopefully a bit snowier. Getting to this destination is going to take about 10 miles of hiking, which is kind of exemplary of the reason I was excited when Adorama sent me this lens, which is that it is absolutely tiny. I've got it on my peak design capture clip here, and I've already kind of just forgotten that it's there at all. I'm used to lugging around my giant 70-200, which I always argue is worth it because it's so heavy, but you get beautiful telephoto shots. And of course, this only goes to half the range and doesn't offer, you know, that range between 70 and 200, you're stuck at 100, but it's a telephoto option. So as much as I love that 70 to 200, I am very open to it being unseated as my go-to long focal length option, at the very least for longer, more strenuous hikes or overnight trips where I need to keep my weight down. Also, look at this. Beautiful out here. Snowy, foggy. I was not expecting these conditions at all. Well, I've made it to the summit, but there's actually a lot less snow and fog than there was further down. But there are a lot of nice kind of foresty, high elevation forest details, lots of ferns and different kinds of moss. So I've been kind of poking around, instead of getting shots of big faraway trees, getting shots of tiny little details in the landscape. And that's the fun thing about this particular lens, is that you can do both of those, because it's a telephoto, but it's also a macro, so you can get big faraway landscapes, bring them up close, or get close-up shots of those tiny little details. I actually don't have much experience using macro lenses on my projects, so this has kind of been like a fun, different kind of shooting, getting just ludicrously close to these little details in these plants. It's also something I can definitely see myself using on a lot of future projects, not just out here in the wilderness, but Also, back home, shooting like studio footage, a lot of my projects include these very close-up shots of like words on a page. And this lens will be absolutely perfect for shooting those going forward. I actually feel kind of silly now for not picking one of these up earlier for that exact purpose. But anyway, I'm gonna get some more shots of these plants, then turn around, head back down to a much lower elevation. Waterfalls are nice in the winter, because out here you usually only find them in kind of dark, deep, narrow canyons and gorges like this one. So they're very wet, they're very dark, they're very secluded. See, they make these nice little pockets of kind of lush green landscapes even in the winter. See what I mean?
Alright, so after using this lens for a bit, here's the plan. For trips and projects going forward, I'll be taking both the 70-200 and this new 100mm macro. The 70-200 has my heart, nothing's going to change that, but for portions of trips where we're doing longer, more strenuous hikes, more technical adventures where we need to be quick and nimble, or overnights where I need a really safe space in my bag, I will have zero reservations about ditching my 70-200 and taking this 100mm macro instead. The 100mm macro is also going to come in really handy for, well, macro shots, close-ups of maps, images, documents, which I'm shooting quite regularly. Now, as I said at the start of the video, the most important kind of assessment of a lens is the image it produces. So in this video, you've seen the images I was able to get with this lens, and you've heard how it fits into my particular style and workflow. So now it's up to you to make your best judgment on that and see if this is something that could be useful for you as well. But I will say it's been really fun using this lens the last few days, and it will absolutely be in my camera bag on most, if not all, of my projects going forward. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, learned something new from it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to Adorama TV for thousands of other videos just like this one, including a whole series I've done with them over the last couple of years, just teaching various aspects of filmmaking. Thank you again for watching this video, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one.